Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to show you how I price out railing jobs so I don't lose my shirt. And I kind of like this shirt. Stay tuned. Alright, so my intention with this video is to show professional carpenters, especially ones that are starting out, on how to price out a railing job so that you make money. Obviously that's why you're in business, but also for the homeowner who has some skills that's going to tackle their own railing job. This will give you an idea of what is involved in this very comprehensive project. It's not a weekend event if you're doing the balustrade of any size. So the first thing I wanted to say is that you can't tackle this job by linear foot. I've had people say, well, I've got so many lineal feet of railing, but an 8-foot length of railing between posts is one thing, but you can have 8 lineal feet of railing with 3 newel posts and a half newel, and a sub rail and a nosing and all sorts of things that is going to be way more time consuming. In fact, just for example, I always allot 2 hours for every newel post I install. Now you add that up by, some jobs will have 9 newel posts. Boy, that ends up being a lot of time. So, I liken it to baseboard, for example. If somebody says, yeah, I have 100 feet of baseboard to install, what do you charge? Well, if there's 4 corners, that's one thing, but if there's 14 corners, that's way different in the amount of time. And, think about it this way. I once priced out a flooring job. Now, granted, it was a flooring job, and I was inexperienced in pricing, and it went around a balcony. So it was only a run of about 6 feet on each board. So I priced it out by lineal foot, and I had 2 employees doing the job for me. At the end of the job, I figured out their labor was $1,000 more than I'd priced out. Fortunately, I had a customer that was someone I'd worked for in the past, and she gave me an extra $500. So that job cost me $500. And think about this. It would have been cheaper for me to give her $100 and walk away when I priced it out than do the job. So that's why I wanna go over this. Now, one of the things that you're going to find when you price out railing jobs is that there's a sticker shock with balustrades. And it's just like when somebody goes out and, prices out a new GM truck or a Toyota 4Runner. Wow, they walk away. And, they're typically with a balustrade job, I'll give the price. There'll be a sticker shock with the customer, so they'll ghost me for a while. And often about a month later, they'll call me back and say, can you do my railing? And that's because they don't appreciate how much time it takes and the precision it takes. And they're likely priced out other contractors and found out, it's a reasonable price. Now, what I will tell you also is that this method of pricing for really complicated jobs, you can use this for other projects, and I have too. So what it does is it breaks down all your components into itemized newel posts, balusters, railings, railing joints, and all that sort of thing. And then you do a takeoff on your labor and allot the labor for the job. The other thing that I'll talk about is that you have to include things like your blade sharpening costs, your bit costs, fasteners, glue, and all that sort of thing. One of the things I find with blades is every railing job I do, I have to go sharpen my blade again. It costs me $20. The blade itself is worth at least $120. If it's a Festool blade, it's up to like $200. So you can only sharpen a blade, maybe a dozen times, and then you have to replace it. So you have to include those costs in your job. The other thing I wanted to mention is that in my experience, when you give a price or when you tell a customer, or maybe a customer will ask you, hey, can you just do this job by time and materials? I trust you, you seem like a decent person, and so on and so forth. Almost every time I've done that, I've ran into grief. The only exception is if you give the customer a range on what the job is going to cost, a realistic budget for their railing job, because depending on what it is, it's going to be $10,000 to $20,000 if it's a big balustrade. Then you're going to get grief at the end of the job because they might be thinking it's $2,000 when in fact it's 10. So I would avoid doing time and material jobs on railings. So when I go to look at a job, I start by doing my measurements, of course, and doing a little drawing in my notebook here. I got one here, and or on a piece of paper, and draw like a real rough sketch of the balustrade itself. Measurements, and then also marking where the newel posts are going to go, whether it's going to be a 48-inch newel or a 60-inch newel, at the bottom of a staircase and so on. And then I can price out the materials. Then I go back to my office and I'll make a more comprehensive, neat drawing and note all the different details that I'm going to require. I also take pictures of anything that's going to give me grief or something that's out of the ordinary. I'll take a picture or a video. And I always take a picture of the railing job itself, the landing and staircase and all that sort of thing, because inevitably there's things that I forget. I also find out from the customer if they're going to demolish the old railing and remove it, take it to the landfill site, and also if they're going to do their own painting and staining, or staining and clear coat, or whether they're going to hire a painter, or if they want me to do it. So that'll make a big difference on pricing. I will also tell the customer that they will have to give me a material deposit before I actually go and pick up the materials. And sometimes I'll include a little bit of labor in that. If it's going to be a month-long job, which, it is possible to have a balustrade job take 4 weeks, then I'm going to have to pay my helper, partway through the job. So I need a little more than just the materials. The other thing I will advise the customer is that if they're going to be living in the house, and especially if there's children there, then they're going to be required to sign a liability waiver while I'm working on the railing, because it's not all the time that they're going to have a railing in place. I'll endeavor to put a temporary railing in place. If I've removed the railing off a balcony, for example, before I leave the house, I'll do something with plywood and 2x4s even, just to make it, so that people can't fall off in the night going to the washroom, sort of thing. But that is an important thing to do. Now, I don't use any kind of SketchUp program or CAD program for doing my drawings, because I just haven't developed the skill set to do those kinds of drawings. But I've done enough railings that I can do a really good takeoff of a decent, hand-drawn plan. So I start with that plan and I start itemizing all my materials. I always start with the newel post, because that's sort of the hinge pin of the whole project, how long it's going to take and everything else. I allot 2 hours for each newel post install, unless I see that, okay, here I'm going to have to cut a hole in the plywood and drop a post into the floor joist, and that's going to be more, then I'll allot a little extra time for that. Then I'm going to allot time for the half newel install. I generally just allot half an hour for a half newel, because it's simply getting it screwed to the wall. But there again, you may have to install some kind of blocking in the drywall so that that half newel will stay in place. Then I'm going to itemize each railing. So basically I'm going to allot about a half an hour for each one of the slip fix rail bolt connectors that you use on a balcony rail, between the balcony and the half newel balcony and the post. About a half hour for each. I don't necessarily allot time for cutting the railing to size, because that's sort of the quick and easy part of the job. But if I'm doing a rake railing, then I'll allot more time, because the rake rail, or in other words, the railing that goes down the stairs between two posts, is going to have a lot more time involved in getting the angles right. And depending on what kind of connector I use, the angled rail bolt at the top, for example, takes a little more time and a little more tricky, and that sort of thing. Also, if there's a bottom rail, don't forget to price that as well, exactly the same way. And then as far as balusters go, believe it or not, I can only do about 5 or 6 balusters in an hour. But there's a mistake there that you can easily make. Now, I've done 20 balusters in an hour on a balcony. It's pretty easy to do if you time between the time you start and the time you finish. But don't forget, you've had to figure out your spacing. You've had to cut all your fillets. You've had to sometimes cut all your balusters, and if they're steel baluster, you've had to cut them with a steel cutting blade and then file both ends so they'll nicely go into the groove. So it's not just the install, and that's the mistake you can make. And you know, everybody heard that, well, I framed this house or this shed or this garage in a day. Well, that's probably not true. There's probably a lot of other things that have gone into the mix before you actually started framing. So those are the things that carpenters make mistakes on when they're pricing. When I start pricing out the actual job, I include material pickup, and sometimes I'll give the customer a break if it's going to be, you know, a lower paid employee going to pick up the materials, bring them back to the shop. But that counts as time. And so does actual going to paint stores and getting stain mixed up. There's value in that, and it costs you money. The other thing I want to talk about is your initial setup time. Now, you're going to be bringing your materials to your shop, staining and varnishing those things that need to be stained and varnished ahead of time, then bringing them to the job site and setting up your work area, and also mapping out the job and doing a layout and actually marking the floor where you're going to put your posts and so on. So those are things that are important to allot time for when you're doing up a price. Now, there's a couple of different mantras I sort of adopt for railing jobs. One is nothing is ever easy, and the other one is it ain't over until it's over. Now, I have a friend who did a really big balustrade job, and he did it by time and materials, but he did give them an overall budget that they should expect. Now, he called me and said, hey, thanks for all the information. I'm ahead of schedule. I think I'm going to tell them that it's going to be, you know, a little bit less than what I anticipated. And I said, don't do that. Don't do that, because sure enough, later on in the job, there's going to be something that you overlooked, and it's going to take way longer than you anticipated. And in fact, that's exactly what happened with my friend. And he's really glad he didn't tell them that there was going to be a discount at the end of the job. Now, one of the things I want you to know is that if you follow my channel, you'll know that my videos are long and detailed and, you know, maybe hopefully not too boring. But the reason for that is when I do a video, I want to pass on all the information I have between my ears on a certain subject to you. And certainly every time I do publish a video, there's something I missed and I wish I would have included it. But I don't care if you're a competitor of mine in the city where I live. I want you to know the secrets that I've learned, or what have you, little tricks of the trade. And I want you to have that knowledge to be more successful. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you have any tips for me, please pass them on in the comments. And in the meantime, don't lose your shirt the next job you do. Take care. We'll see you on the next one.